Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. My name is Tanay Hall, and I'm an anchor with World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform where industry veterans come together to share their experiences, thoughts, knowledge, and ideas with one another, as well as with upcoming future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings of all our industry stalwarts. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can create a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that have already proven a success formula for so many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge sharing community. We have one such personage on First Time with Leaders with us today, Mr. Col K R Shekhar. We welcome you on the show, sir, today.
Thank you, Mr. All. A pleasure to be on your show.
Pleasure's all ours, sir. He is an army veteran with nearly 3 decades of experience. His skill set spans the management of materials, logistics, operations, plans, concepts, and defense procurement at both the macro and micro levels. He further excels in each of these areas with his people management skills, which he derives from his sense of camaraderie, a legacy of his military career. His professional journey is a testament to his unwavering commitment and leadership. With an educational background that includes a master's degree in weapon technology from Andhra University and an MBA in operational research from IGNOU, he has consistently sought to enhance his knowledge and expertise. His pursuit of excellence has led him to pursue certifications in defense procurements and corporate social responsibility, reflecting his dedication to staying at the forefront of industry developments. Could you let our viewers know in brief about your career journey so far?
Well, Tanmay, to begin with, I'm Colonel Shekhar, as I said.
Yes.
And I'm a second-gen military person from my family. My father was in the Air Force before me. Probably I took a leave from him, and thereafter I decided to join the armed forces. And here I am. After about 3.5 decades in the army, retired, and now pursuing, second innings, I would say. And if we really look back onto my journey, it's not just about 3.5 decades that I talk of being in the uniform, because having been educated from a Sonic school, I can boast of about four decades in the uniform of my given 5.5 decades of life. So pretty much, as you said, the whole life has been with the uniform, meaning there is a certain amount of discipline, thoughtfulness, concern, integrity, and these kind of things are very much inborn and inbred in me, ingrained in me, and therefore I am here. Coming to my journey in the armed forces, 3.5 decades ago, 32 years ago, and I took the step. I was commissioned into a regiment of the artillery. I was fortunate to join the regiment with Bofors. That time, when I joined, it was the craze and the in thing in the 90s, early 90s. So that way, I was a lucky guy to have gotten there. And ever since, grew up in that unit, had my own stints outside of it. Done a lot of education while in the army, which I thought wouldn't happen. But then that's probably what has kept my, quest for knowledge, learning open even to date. I end up doing something or the other. So that's one big thanks to the organization that they made me study while I joined the army to skip studies. That having said that, my spanning of service goes all across all terrains across the country. I've served in the international boundaries. I've served in the line of control. I've served in the line of actual control. I mean, I have been a brigade major. That is to one person who was taking care of the artillery shelling Trans LC in the Kargil sector for about 2.5 years. And then I also had a fair share in the Northeast. So that way, in the organization, 30 plus years spanning, I really didn't know how it has happened. But yes, I learned a lot from this organization. As you said in the beginning, that I have become, Bofors being an equipment intensive thing. So one of the biggest advantages that I've learned from there is equipment management. Manpower, man management, so-called an HR claim. Logistic management, which is again by virtue of the equipment that we were holding. And financial management, of course, in a small bits, and procurements, which I have developed a skill on it. So overall, it has been a very entertaining, very knowledgeable, very satisfactory journey that I've had, and a whole lot of lessons that I've taken from there. And that is how probably I'm here today in my quench to, do well and give it back to the society. Yeah.
Sir, what would be, Colonel, what some of the values that you regard as indispensable for any professional, regardless of their work rate?
Now, all of us choose professions based on our value systems, to be very frank. What are the value systems that we have? Based on that, we choose professions. And each profession has got its own inbuilt systems with which you got to match and then grow further. However, like you just about asked, irrespective, spanning across all kinds of professional, cutting across all kinds of professions, if you really look at it, I feel the biggest thing that a man should have, man or a woman for that matter, should have is the integrity. One with the highest degree of integrity is a sure shot success wherever, whichever field that he's been placed with, because then he knows that he is doing the right thing. So if I begin with that, integrity, and then being loyal, more often than not, we tend to have loyalty as a passing sentence, a passing word, and end up being disloyal because of lack of complete application of the word of loyalty. If you're loyal to your place, if you're loyal to your seat, if you're loyal to your work, I'm sure you can make it big. And yeah, all of us are here for some profession or the other, but then honesty is one aspect. If your dealings are honest, be it in the military, be it in the corporate, be it in the profession of engineering, be it in the profession of bureaucracy, you got to be honest, you got to be transparent. You got to bring up front whatever other things without holding back any parts or bits of information. If you're being honest about it, I think much of the battle is on your side. Next, don't treat any of these things as, a bread earning, a bread giving avenue and just not get committed to it. There is a certain degree of accountability, I feel, for any kind of a job that you have to give from yourselves. Have that kind of an accountability, and then you'll be able to do with, of course, the ones that are preceded with. If you have this, accountability automatically follows suit to those people who have other characteristics which I've so far said. And then the smaller things which come up for there are seldom chances that you're working as an individual, even if a freelancer has got to take support of the system. So therefore, teamwork, team building, teamwork. Then how you get them together. What are the ethos that you give into that particular thing? And then what is the values that you grow into that team? How do you respect? Respect doesn't have to be only literally bottom upwards. It has to be bottom top. It has to be lateral as well. So if you have this kind of a holistic respect as one of your core values, respecting the whole process of this thing, I'm sure you'll be able to do it. Do not keep away from communicating. Have your communication channels open. Be receptive to people, listen to them, and also be vocal about what you want from the team to get. So if you have these kind of small little things which are there, they will force you to be a very, very successful, for the lack of a better word, I would use this, workman, because we scan all across. So therefore, I'm using the word. You become a very successful workman, and then it is there with you.
Colonel, how did you develop an interest in corporate governance?
Well, that's a very interesting question, Tane, that you just asked me. How did I develop interest in corporate governance? In a way, if you really look at it, if you talk about the governance part of it, it comes with a whole lot of these positives, which we just spoke in the while ago. All those things of integrity, honesty, loyalty, responsiveness, adaptability, and all those things are very much part of any system of governance. Now, as an army officer, I've been governing my troops all the while. I've been governing my unit and the establishment wherever I was placed with. However, in the process of growing in the organization, I had the opportunity of traveling the country, been to cities, been into remote areas, be it a state of Gujarat, the Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Assam, J&K, Ladakh, you name it, and I've been there. And a very, I won't say bleak, but a little painful kind of a situation emerges when we realize that there is so much of suffering around you, and the government on its own is not able to keep up to the mandate and do its own bit as a developed or a developing nation. They have got responsibilities far more than what it can feed. It is trying its best to do it. However, amongst those various initiatives, one such initiative which has always caught up on me was the corporate social responsibility, which you rightly mentioned in the introduction part, where I am a professional by CSR also, in CSR also. So that way, if you really look at it, I have realized that the corporates have got, if not more, almost an equal amount, because the kind of corporates that we are today, the kind of funds that they talk of, their value that we talk of, the money that we talk of, the kind of jobs they get into. I feel the corporates, if they're able to stand by the mandate given out by the government, but maybe about a decade back, I'm sure together about 50% or more of the troubles and the poverty and the, other things in the country that we are facing can be elevated. So with that as a background, I got into the CSR part of it. But then I realized that I am only a provider, provided there is somebody who is ready to provide me. So to bring about the change at the apex, there is an understanding that is required, an empathetic understanding, I would say. I'm using this kind of a superlative, double superlative, with a simple fact that, fine, you are a corporate house, you want to grow, you want to make good, fine, you go ahead, please do that. But then don't absolve yourselves of the responsibility to give back to the society, which has actually contributed to your growth. So maybe a few of us, not this particular thing of the government of having the so-called independent directors, is also a right step, which is actually strengthening the CSR initiatives, which it has dictated at one point in time. And that's probably when I do a little study of the available resources in the market, which when I can put together, then I as one may be able to make a minuscule change. And with hundreds of such people trying to do this little change by getting into the aspect of corporate governance and govern it, not just, be a independent director or a CSR activist or whatever. Govern it in the empathetic fashion that they are supposed to do it. Then I'm sure, as it is, we are making differences in our society worldwide in leaps and bounds. There's no doubt about it. But then a little bit more of responsibility, a little bit more of commitment, if done by the higher echelons and people in power in the various offices, I'm sure we'll be able to make a much better impact. And that's probably how I chose to get into the corporate governance.
Sir, as a corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table?
Well, if I go for the corporate governance part of it and then talk what values can I bring up to the table, again, a nichode of the last 2 or 3 questions which comes up, but in a little jumbled up fashion, the most important thing that will have to come is transparency. When I'm transparent as a governor, as a director, then I know the mandate which has been given to me and thrusted upon me, or whichever way I take it, it will be fulfilled. So the first thing that I would like to have is transparency. That is what I would like to bring up to the table by trying to be as transparent as possible. Then being accountable. Accountable not just to the corporate house to which I belong, but also being accountable for the cause that I have chosen to be a corporate governor. then I have to be very, very ethical. Let's not get to that situation now where unethical practices could be or malpractices could be, given a shoddy eye. There is far too much of roving eye which is able to keep a check on what is happening or not. It's better to be ethical and save your day and maybe tomorrow as well. Then having a responsible behavior, which again, the organization has taught me to, which I would like to bring it on to the corporate houses. Compliance. We're talking of compliance, sustainability. These are a couple of things, and improvement. These are a couple of things which are values which I have imbibed while being in the organization. Now, if these values which I've imbibed in the organization, if I, as a person able to make a small difference in that particular organization to which I belong, if I take it up and I try to imbibe these values into the team, I'm not sure, if not tomorrow, but certainly over the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, or maybe a decade, will be a better society than what we are today. Then, of course, things like integrity, independence, accountability, which we have already spoken of, professionalism. These are all the things which are a package which I can bring it to that governing house to which I could get to. I would say, there hai, durust hai. I mean, you see, it has been more than a decade now that the government has started putting things like corporate governance, things like the independent directors. When you're looking at the world has already caught on to 4.0s and 5.0s in the development matrix, where we are still grappling with, the terminology. And administering a country like India, which is so vast, so diverse, and each sector having its own thought process, and the government actually trying to reach to the last corner nook with giving all this thought process is a difficult aspect. So at the outset, it's a good initiative that these two gentlemen have embarked on, of creating a little establishment which is taken it upon them to connect with industry magnates, onboard them as specialists or guest lecturers or guest professors, guest speakers, and provide their knowledge, their expertise to, firstly, the plethora of intellect which is available in the country but are not being channelized. So what first and the foremost thing that they have done is they have picked up people like me from all over the country. They have said, okay, guys, come. You retire, doesn't matter. You have got so much of experience, come down. You could be an independent director, you can do your job well. So it begins with that, okay, the thought process was right. And they have, in a way, aided up with the government, and they said, listen, we'll try to train these people. I would use the word train, though it is not right to say it, but then yeah.
Finished. A lot of new technologies have come in, such as IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, big data. So with all of these, where have you seen changes come from, and where do you see this go in the future?
Okay. See, these changes which you're talking of, technological changes, fortunate I landed up into a profession where the technological changes had actually started coming in. So I have faced the olden days when it was Sansi technology, and I've seen the upgrade that has happened over the period of time. And I much appreciate how quality of life, quality of functioning, quality of doing things, work-life balance, and these kind of things, how they have been very largely affected by by this technology which is coming. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't really see there is any sphere, any domain that's left off in the world which is untouched by the technological advancements. So if technology has not spared anybody, I'm sure corporates won't be wrong to say that bulk of the scientists belong in here, in this particular sphere from where they have developed. Whatever science was developed keeping their sustenance in mind. So if you really look at each of these aspects which you just about asked me, it comes out that like Internet of Things is something which, we are all moving towards. The West has already adopted it in a big way, and we are in the metropolitan or cosmopolitan life that we are having. It is very much part of it, be it homes, be it healthcare, be it industries, and all these places. They have adopted it, and probably very soon it will reach the mid-level towns with the kind of a development plan that is in mind. So once that thing happens with the kind, because I can see that we are one of the largest consumers of data. If we are already one of the largest consumers of data, what is stopping proliferation of all this technology down to the last mile? Of course, if you really put on a map and start trying to see which are the blind spots or which are the villages, I mean, pan this nation, you would realize no more than 3 to 5% of the nation is probably left, which does not have a spread of internet, 5, maximum 7. So if that be the kind of a proliferation of internet which has already taken place, I for one feel that it's only a matter of time, correct application of resource and guidelines to ensure that these things are there at all the places that we'll be able to take it. Now, in the company, in the corporates, if you really ask me, how does it change? How does it matter? How does it really make a difference in each one of these things? You know that artificial intelligence, machine learning, there is a kind of automation that has happened at each place. It's like it is changing the sphere, the landscape of work. People are scared when we talk of artificial intelligence, machines and, robotics and all these things coming in. It's sometimes very mind-boggling to see the kind of things that this kind of a technology has done. At one point in time, we were looking at, surgeries being planned and dates being given for so many days and, so many months of the waiting period. But now we are there where healthcare has practically has become that it cannot survive without AI in it or, this robotics. So therefore, if you really take into account any of these particular corporate houses, as far as the governance is concerned, the big way it comes. The technology comes up in a big way as for the governance of the thing because, again, data. It's all about data management. Data management is one thing which gives you the power to stay up. You got to be secure. You got to be up. So I think the way these corporates are adapting to what you call technological advancements and proliferation of technology and, embracing it so openly, it's only making them powerful. So far, we are okay. We are at that point. And the latest bills that have been put in by the government in this gone monsoon session, these things and all give you more independence, more dependence on rather than independence, more dependence on these things. And people should now be able to embrace it more importantly. Yeah. So if you really look and ask me, how does internet go to proven? I think all of these things, be it blockchain you talked of, be it webs, the 3.0, all these things in a way are those things which are giving the requisite amount of freedom to, maneuver in those given spaces. There's more that you can do once you have the technology taking care of the minuscule things of your organization. Yeah.
Yeah. Colonel, as you know, we're building a community here of industry magnates. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about this initiative taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Heval Mehta, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
Okay. I would say there I durust hai. I mean, you see, it has been more than a decade now that the government has started putting things like corporate governance, things like the independent directors. When you're looking at the world, World has already caught on to 4.0s and 5.0s in the development matrix, where we are still grappling with, the terminology. And administering a country like India, which is so vast, so diverse, and each sector having its own thought process, and the government actually trying to reach to the last corner nook with giving all this thought process is a difficult aspect. So at the outset, it's a good initiative that these two gentlemen have embarked on, of creating a, little establishment which is taken it upon them to connect with industry magnates, onboard them as specialists or guest lecturers or guest professors, guest speakers, and provide their knowledge, their expertise to, firstly, the plethora of intellect which is available in the country but are not being channelized. So what first and the foremost thing that they have done is they have picked up people like me from all over the country. They have said, okay, guys, come. You retire, doesn't matter. You have got so much of experience, come down. You could be an independent director, you can do your job well. So it begins with that, okay, the thought process was right. And they have, in a way, aided up with the government, and they said, listen, we'll try to train these people. I would use the word train, though it is not right to say it, but then, yeah, we will educate these people, not people better. We'll educate these people with the setups, with the rules, laws, norms, and then send that particular thing. No. And then send it up over an examination, give it to you, please have them in your data bank, and then use them the way as available to you. So this being the start point, what has it started? The word that you very fondly use in the question, cross-pollination. That's the biggest thing that has happened. You have industry magnates from all over the sphere on varied spheres, varied knowledge, varied niches that they are holding, all brought in together, and an exchange of seamless exchange of ideas, innovation, thoughts, and methodology is what it starts with. So the knowledge sharing which has started because of this particular thing. Now, for example, when I was doing this little course of independent directors from the World Directors Center, there we had those number of people whom we used to sit down and we used to have company secretaries and all these people who would come and address us. So it was a great feel to be actually listening to them. Their expertise used to come into us. We used to talk, and then people who were my co-students, they are also coming from varied fields with varied exposures and varied experience. So each one of them coming in to pitch with their experience. The whole kind of a study becomes holistic when you have hands-on learning or so-called peer learning happening. So for a person like me who has a niche of the, let's say, the defense forces, armed forces, and looking forward to an expertise to be able to make it, sustainable in the corporate world. These kind of people are the ones who gave me the kind of a strength to go by. So towards that, a good initiative, they started with this so-called thing known as knowledge sharing. They have started with the thing of collaborating, because we have collaborated with so many people from so many companies. That's in a form of a collaboration only. Then the mentorship program, which I just about talked about, which is a beautiful mentorship program. I say it's not that it was any less, be it from this thing. So they have gone all out to bring to the table whatever best they could, so that the deficiency which is there in this sphere of corporate governance, in this sphere of other things like maybe ESGs, maybe independent directors, these all things which are the things which are yet to be fulfilled. The government's mandate has yet to be fulfilled by the government itself, actually. But then these kind of these have formed a catalyst. These are the ones who have actually taken the lead. So it's a matter of time that I would not like to use it as a coaching center that we have for a NEET or, law capsule or a GRE or GMAT, nothing like that. But then because Here we are talking of real experience. We are talking of the wealth of this nation, which has been brought under one umbrella. And then they are being pumped in with such kind of things, which in our routine, day-to-day life, we are not able to look into those documents. We are not able to do it. So thereby inculcating in us certain amount of accountability for the job that we have gotten. Now, I feel after having finished my course and all that, I feel accomplished. Now I know, okay, when I walk into a boardroom, when I go into a corporate governance, when I go into a particular office, I exactly know what I have joined them there. How should I behave so that whatever I wanted to achieve, I can actually achieve without cutting corners, without making any kind of a, compromise. So keeping it.
Great, sir. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will greatly inspire future leaders. Thank you so much for joining us today and wish you the best for future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute unquestionably has expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds.